Hello world and all who inhabit it. I'm SteviiLove and this is Gex. This is my official introduction to my leopard gecko. I want to apologize if the audio is a little bit off. I'm not using my headset right now just because it's a little bit hard to do this and use the headset. So I just got done feeding Gex a little bit ago. He ate not yesterday but the day before, like I said in that video, which I'm sure you guys will see. Probably after this one though. But know that that video was filmed just before this one. Gave him a little bit of time to just kind of chill after eating, and now it is time to put everything back in there for him. So first and foremost, most people do not take their stuff out of the leopard gecko enclosure, out of any animal enclosure. They usually just kind of feed them in there, and I unfortunately cannot hand feed Gex. He wasn't raised hand fed, and Gex is not my original gecko. I got him from someone who got him from someone. So I am the third and final family this boy will ever know. And I want to say he's about a year old. I don't know for sure. I have no idea how old he is. I don't even know how long the people before me had him or the people before them. So it's a little bit tricky, but I do know he is a boy. And right now he's extra pale because he is getting ready to shed. Probably in a week he will be shedding, and I want to try to record him shedding for you guys, but I don't want to stress him out too bad, so it might be a while before I can do that. But I have had Gex for almost 3 months now, and he's doing fantastic. So now that I am done with my little introduction, it's time to get everything put back in here. So this is the cool side of his enclosure, and it is nice and cool. And this is where the biggest hide he has goes, because my room is nice and toasty warm, along with having a heating pad on the back of the tank that came there and one under the tank on that side. This is a very big enclosure, actually. It's not as wide as I would have liked, but it is long and it's tall. He'll never be able to escape from this thing, which is nice, but I want to upgrade him to something wider. This enclosure is 31 inches long by 11 inches wide, and it is 17 3/4 inches tall. So it's pretty big. I warn you, once I put this in here, this is his bat cave. Once I put this in here, we might not see him for much longer, because this is his favorite place to be. It really is. And every time I feed him, I take everything out. I just do that so that I know exactly how many insects he eats. I can tell when he's full and when he's done eating. And there are no insects left behind that he is not going to eat that day. It's important to make, you don't have to take them all out. If you can hand feed your gecko, then do it. But I can't, so this is the best way to make sure that he is properly fed without having any feeder insects in there that could potentially hurt him. I know it doesn't seem like much, but crickets and other insects actually can be really, really, really harmful. Like, I had one cricket escape one time out of my feeding tank, or my feeder tank, I should say, not feeding tank, but it's the tank that I use to store all of my feeder insects. And this cricket, I kept waking up to it crawling on my leg, and it was biting me and stuff, and it hurt. I'm not a big wussy or anything, but I could definitely see how that would hurt any kind of reptile. So right now I am making him a mountain. His bedding is eco earth, and I just try to make his bat cave like an actual cave. I don't know, this is what he prefers. I've messed around a lot in here to try to make it something that he will enjoy. And right now I have the perfect setup for this size of tank. What are you doing, bud? He's like, Mom, it's empty in here. What's going on? You're so cute. He is a high yellow morph, and the bedding I have is Eco Earth. I see a lot of people who use Eco Earth for one, but also it is safe for him to ingest. It'll pass right through him. It won't cause impaction or anything like that. Are you digging? I know, but I'm getting everything back to the way you like it. That is his potty spot. I should probably put something down. So, like I said, this is where he likes to go to the bathroom at. Watch out, bud. And the cool trick with leopard geckos is that if you stick a little piece of paper towel down where they go to the bathroom, they will go on it. And they're basically litter trained. They always go in the same spot for the most part, or at least the same spot in the tank, like the same corner. So instead of having to spot clean the Eco Earth 24/7 and add new in, I just have to pick up that paper towel and replace it with another one. It's almost time to replace all of the Eco Earth in here, and I will probably do a video when I do that. So let's resume to his little mountain. Alright. Everyone's ideals for their geckos are different, and I'm not here to say that I'm an expert. I'm a noob in the gecko field. I'm pretty great with iguanas, but for geckos, not so much. I've never had one before him. So I've done a lot of research, and I've also just kind of studied his attitude and behavior and all of that, and that's kind of how I came up with the stuff that he likes. But I wanted to specifically make sure that I use something like Eco Earth as a substrate. I know that you can use paper towels or newspapers or something like that, but I specifically wanted to use something that I knew would be safe if he accidentally ingested, and it also is really great for making it harder for the feeder insects like crickets to swiftly move around. Because before, when the sand was in here that he came with, it was really hard for him to catch his food, and he just kind of gave up. But now he is a mighty predator. Yep, there he goes. We're not going to see him again. Goodbye. Have a good nap, sweet boy. You're so cute. I freaking love him. For me, he embodies everything that is fascinating about a predator reptile without being creepy or having food that you really don't want to handle. Like, I'd much rather feed crickets to a reptile than a dead mouse. I had hamsters growing up, so I don't know. I want a snake, but I'm not comfortable with that. They're cool, but what we want next is a bearded dragon. But I also, again, I want to rehome one. Like, I want to be the person who takes it off of someone else's hand and gives it a permanent home. I don't want to go out and contribute to the reptile farming industry that is currently happening, that I don't agree with at places like PetSmart. So now that this area is done, we're going to move on to the rest of it. Alright, so of course back here we have his little spot for him going to the bathroom, and I will be doing a video talking about Gex, his story, because unfortunately it's a very common story and I want to help stop it. And the only thing is that video is going to take a little bit longer than some of these other ones because I want to edit that video so that I can insert some footage of his enclosure that he came with, because trust me, it is not a good one right now. Sorry, I'm doing it off camera because it's a little bit difficult to try to do this on camera. Where'd my brush go? There it is. But right now I'm currently misting down getting ready to, I should say, but misting his humid hide. I gotta clean up a little bit of excess Eco Earth. And like I said, if I could record myself doing this, I would, but it's just a little bit difficult. And again, like I said, this is something that I choose to do. I don't have to if I don't want to, but I enjoy doing this. And I've found that this is the best way to bond with my gecko, since, again, he's had so many homes before me. This was the best way I found for him to get to know me, get used to me, and be comfortable with me, and it's definitely worked. So now that that is in there, it's time to put the top on. after cleaning it out. And misting that down a little bit too. So unfortunately, this is not the size that I want it to be. He fits in there, but I want something a little bit bigger, but they're pretty expensive. That's another thing. Like, I did have a DIY one that was a little bit bigger than that, but once we got him his bat cave, he stopped using it altogether, and I needed something that was made of the same material and feel and all of that stuff that he would be comfortable with for when he sheds. So with a leopard gecko, they need ultimately minimum 2 hides. They need a humid hide and they need a dry hide. And for me, I actually have 3. I have a humid hide right there. You saw it. Oops. I have the dry hide, the humid hide, and last but not least is the hide that he actually came with. This was the only hide he has ever had before. And I had to add these dowel rods because obviously he's not a baby anymore. So, sorry that this is a little shaky. There we go. So this, like I said, over here, this is the warm side of the tank, and that's why there's that thermostat back there. There is a sticker that tells me the temperature on the other side. And yes, there is a heating pad on the back of the tank. That's from the people who gave him to me, well, who I bought him off of, who didn't want him anymore. They were told that's where you had to put it, and instead of removing that, I decided to leave it there for in the winter so that I can control the climate even further. He does have a heating mat under there. I was thinking about getting a rock, like a heat rock, but I think that a heating pad under is just a better idea. Well, a heat mat, heat pad, whatever. Alright, now it is time to add the food, the water dish. I typically will not fill up the water dish though until it is closer to being completely set up in here, just because I always run into the issue of getting Eco Earth back in the water dish, which I do change the water dish daily. You have to. Leopard geckos at least don't drink a lot of water. They get most of that from their feeder insects, which is why it's important to make sure that they are on a really great diet, because that's where your gecko is going to get most of everything that it needs. But it's always smart to leave water in there just in case they weren't able to get enough water. I have actually seen gecks drink from the water dish, and it's really cool. And then right here, I have a little factory diet, as I like to call it. Now, if you watch enough videos on leopard geckos, sometimes you will see people with a dish of calcium in there at all times. Other times, they're like, no, you don't have to do that as long as you know you're providing a good enough diet. I'm positive I'm providing a fantastic diet for him, but I want him to be able to get everything he needs. So, I've got Zoomed, or no, this is Fluker's. I also have a Zoomed brand one that came with him. But I have Fluker's Repticalcium / Repticalcium. It's all the same, which is the white powder. And then I also have, if I can find it. Oh, where did it? There it is. I think I knocked it back. But I also provide Zoomed's leopard gecko food. It used to be a leopard gecko diet, but whatever, they recently changed it. And basically this gives them everything they need. Gives them calcium, vitamin D3, and so much other really good stuff. And my gecko actually does eat it. You will find it all over his bedding and stuff sometimes. But I personally choose to do that so that Gex has literally everything he needs afforded to him. I want to be the best gecko mom I can possibly be. Actually, no, we're not going to put that back there this time. I think this time it's going to be right up here. There we go. So I put that right there. So this is what it is starting to look like, which this is almost done now. I do have to dust off the top of this. And I just have a toothbrush that is specifically for him. It's never been used in a human mouth or anything. But this just makes it a lot easier to get any calcium off of his rock, any excess eco earth off of the top of here. I mean, I know that if he digs, he's going to get it on there, but this is more of a thing that, like, what I'm doing right now isn't just for him. It's also really therapeutic for me. And it's definitely helpful to have an animal that you can care for like this if you have any kind of mental illness. Alright, now we got to get the rock cleaned off. And then we can put his little leaf litter down. And then we can water him, and he's good to go. And then I will repeat this in either 2 days or 3 days, depending on when he's hungry next. You always know when he's hungry, because he'll look at your fingers like they're food. Especially my son's fingers, because he's 7. Whenever Eli comes to see Gex, you can always tell if he's hungry or not, because he'll just sit there and act like he's stalking Eli's fingers. It's the cutest thing ever. I don't know, I think everyone should get a leopard gecko, but again, I'm not okay with what PetSmart does or Petco. I don't like how they store their reptiles a lot of the time. I mean, obviously you'll come by the good ones, but I refuse to shop there. We shop at our local pet store. Well, it's not even local. We have to go almost 2 hours away to get there, but it's Pet Supplies Plus in Erie, Pennsylvania, and it's a family-owned, locally owned shop that I am totally with supporting because they're so good to their animals. Plus, this giant hide right here, my fiance and son found it for $10. And like I said, it's Gex's favorite place in the whole wide world. I mean, you guys saw it. I told you once I put it in there, we wouldn't see him much longer. So right now, I'm just putting some dried leaves down. I dried these myself. They're from my yard. We don't use pesticides in my yard. There's no reason to. I mean, if we have to kill insects, we kill them with fire around here. Also remember that if you get a leopard gecko or something, don't ever feed it insects that you find in your own yard. You can't ever be certain if they have any parasites or anything like that. So it's better to spend the money and purchase them yourself. Also, don't support PetSmart when it comes to crickets. They just buy theirs from flukers. You can save yourself quite a bit of money and bullshit if you just go through flukers. Flukers guarantees to replace any dead crickets, no questions asked. You don't have to send them pictures or anything. Alright, so now that that stuff is done, it is time to water Gex. And for water, I whip this up every probably 3 or 4 days. And this is just regular tap water, which we have well water, not city water, so I don't have to worry about a lot of the stuff that other people do, but I also treated it with ReptiSafe water solution. Oops. And I know this video is a little bit longer than I would typically do, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you learned something new, and you just kind of had fun watching me do this. Alright. I will show you guys the final product and then say my goodbyes, I guess. Alright, so this is what it looks like. This is maybe a little bit much for people. I don't know. I've seen a lot of enclosures that are a lot more basic than this, but I want to spoil the F out of this boy because he's had to go through a lot in his life. Also, that hide that he came with is kind of like a tunnel too, so I feel like it's not as bulky or space taking as some of the other things could be. I don't know. And I make sure to give him a bunch of different textures that he can just explore and enjoy, and I do my best to make sure that his life for however long I have him will be completely enriched and enjoyable to the fullest. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Again, I'm sorry it took so long, but if you didn't enjoy it, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. This is the start of a mini-series. This was the first official introduction into this little mini-series. There will be probably 6 videos total, so make sure to tap my face to subscribe. If you are subscribed though, make sure to tap that bell down below so you never miss when I upload. If you want to follow me outside of YouTube, all of my social media is linked in the description. As always, I'm SteviiLove, and until next time, peace.